For 47 years. I can't even express the feelings that I have right now. I was so extremely close with my grandfather, and he was such an inspiration to me, and having to wait so many years, but I'd like to speak a couple of minutes about my grandfather, who our baby Moshe is named after. Who was Moshe Yisrael Cohen? He was born in the Ukraine in the late 1800s. I believe in 1914 he came to the United States with his entire family, running away from terrible anti-Semitism. He was a Shomer Shabbos, Erlich, real good Jew till the day he died. He was so extremely proud of his name, Moshe. He once told me that he learned someplace that if you're named, most of our names are either primarily from the Torah, Nevi'im, Ksuvim, and he was so extremely proud that his name was Moshe after the original Moshe Rabbeinu. And he remembered learning that if you're named after somebody, you have some of their qualities. And he was extremely proud of that. And I saw actually that Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch speaks about the name Moshe. And when Paro's daughter pulled him off the river when he was floating, and she decided to call him by the name Moshe, Kimin Hamayim Mishisu, it was the reason she actually gave him. There are certain Mefarshim that say that she actually gave him the Hebrew name Moshe. Other Mefarshim say that she gave him the Arabic name, and then it was translated into Moshe. But she actually had two goals. One was to remind him of his heritage by naming him a Jewish name. The second goal that she had, even though she was Bas Paro, she had a lot of very good qualities. Moshe Rabbeinu was raised in the palace of Paro, and she was in charge of his education. And the one thing that she wanted to teach him was to be considerate, to love your neighbor, to love your fellow man, and that is something that she instilled in him. And you can see later on, as Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch says, that when he leaves the palace, one of the first experiences that he has is that he sees a Mitzri hitting a Jew. And what does he do? He immediately stands up for his fellow Jew. And that quality of standing up for his fellow Jew is something that I saw in my grandfather over and over again. One of his goals in life, not even his goal, his essence was tzedakah. He gave away literally every penny he had to tzedakah. And as a young boy, I remember walking into his apartment in Borough Park, and all I would see were envelopes from Israel and sheets of airmail stamps. And he would send everybody, whoever sent him an envelope, a yeshiva, a hospital, an orphanage, whoever sent him anything, got money back. In 1970, we moved to Israel. 2 years later, my grandparents followed, and they lived nearby us. And I was a young boy at the time, probably 12, 13, almost 13. And on my way home from school, pretty much every day I would stop and I would stop and visit him. And we would talk, and that's really when I really bonded with him. And I remember walking into his house, and every single day, whenever I walked in, there was either a sefer open or there was a tehillim open. That's what he did his entire day. And his tzedakah was just monumental. The day when he moved to Israel, he was already pretty sick. He had suffered 2 heart attacks and he had a stroke. And the last time I saw him was 47 years ago today. He was in the hospital and I went with my parents to visit him. It was a Friday, and he was never so sick, but in his true fashion, he was worried about the Jew in the bed next to him. And I remember him throwing his hands up and saying to me, what's going to be with him? He's never so sick, this man. That night, he passed away on Shabbos. And like the Gemara tells us, only tzaddikim gemurim pass on Shabbos. So today we have an opportunity, we had the opportunity, thank God, to name our grandson after my grandfather. And I'm sure, having Sarah and Akiva as parents, they will certainly educate him properly, and he will be a source of nachas to us and to the entire Klal Yisrael. Thank you, everybody, for coming.